Welcome to a Watson Conversation service. This video will describe how to use slots to easily gather input from your user. We'll use a reservations example for a restaurant, where we need to collect the day, the time, and the number of people in the party in order to make a reservation. To speed things up, I've already created a reservations intent and will be using Watson Conversations system entities for each of the slots. Let's get started. I'm going to create a new dialog node. And I'll give it a name. I want this node to be triggered if my bot recognizes the reservations intent, so I'll add that as my condition. I can enable slots from the customized link. This new section appears. My first slot will be for the date of the reservation. I want to check if the user gave me a date in the original utterance, so I add the system entity sysDate. This variable is automatically created for me, where the entity value will be stored when detected. When the date is not detected, I want to prompt my user to tell me what day they want to come in. Very easy. Let's add 2 more slots for the time and the number of people in the party. Okay, those look good. And I've added this response to display when all slots are filled. Let's test it out in the trial panel. If my end user tells me they want to book a table, but they don't give me any of the necessary input, I prompt them for each item. First the date, then the time, then the number of people in the party. Easy. Let's try another example. This time we'll include the number of people in the party, as well as the date. I'm not prompted for the date since that slot has been filled. And I get asked for the time. Let's take a look at what else we can do. Each slot has a gear icon where you can manage additional functionality. In addition to the 3 core elements of a slot, we have these 2 new tabs. This is where you can add additional responses to your user when, after prompting them, the bot either found a match for the entity or did not find a match. Let's start with not found. Here you can tell your user that they did not provide a date and to please do so. I can also add a found response to validate a matched entity. For instance, if the bot detects a date in the past or a date too far into the future, I can handle that easily. Let's try a different example. Let's tell our user that we feature live music on Mondays. We added our condition, and now let's add the response. Let's test it out. We told our bot that our reservation is for Monday, and we get the message that we programmed. Now, when our bot asks for a time for our reservation, let's ask about the hours of operation. Your bot will continue to loop through the prompt until it detects a response. One of the powerful things about Watson Conversation is that you can anticipate digressions and program responses accordingly. Let's take a look. I add my hours of operation intent as my condition, and then the response. And let's test it. Perfect. I've answered my user's question and continue to prompt him as necessary. This not found response is unique to the particular slot, but I think my end user might ask about hours of operation at any point during the slot filling process, but I don't want to add the exact same thing to every slot, so I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to open my Manage Handlers option. Here, I can add a response with the condition hours of operation and my response. Now, at any point in the slot filling process, if the user asks about hours, I can respond and not break the slot filling flow. Let's take a look. When I'm prompted for a date, I ask about hours of operation. I get the response I'm looking for, as well as the prompt for the time. I can add more responses for different conditions if I want. Any digressions that I think my end user might ask during the slot filling process. One last thing I want to show you, this required column. If you have any entities you want to detect, but if the user did not mention you don't want to necessarily prompt them for it, you can leave the prompt blank. This makes it optional. Let's take a look. I add a new slot. I have an entity for special requests. This is things like child seat, wheelchair access, things I don't necessarily want to ask every user, but if they happen to mention it, I want to detect it and store it in context. Let's test it. I've detected all the entities for each of my slots, including the optional special request. And if I open the Manage Context panel, I can see these, including the special request. If I think my user might mention more than one special request, I can add .values to the entity, and this will store multiple mentions in an array. Now, when I test it, I'll include two special requests. These are both detected, and both are saved in an array. That's the slots feature. We think you will find it useful. Thanks for watching.